There we go, everybody. Great to see some familiar faces, some new faces. Roger, thanks for making the time. Very nice to see you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and first off, I gotta say that this session is recorded, just so everyone is aware. We will be collecting questions, so if you have questions around the hackathon, around topics, around anything related to the event, then please just drop them in the chat, or towards the end, you can also unmute yourself and just ask directly. Yeah. So quick introduction from my side. I'm Michael, founder and CEO of Cosmos, and with it also with Hackmos, which is the 5th edition now. We started in 2021, and now we're doing Hackmos this year for the very first time in a hybrid model. So we'll do a remote segment, and we'll also do an on-ground segment in Split, which will start remotely on the 23rd of October. So that's very soon, 8 days from now. And then we'll have the in-person segment on the 30th, 31st, and 1st of November. So yeah, that is the major novelty. Also, what is different compared to previous years, in previous years, we always had, Cosmos and Hackmos as kind of two separate events. But this year we're doing it both together at the same venue at the Le Meridian Lav Hotel in Split, Croatia. So everyone that is planning to be there, please also make sure that you book your travels, that you book your hotel room, ideally at the conference venue, just so you get the maximum kind of out of the event. I think that's all for the kind of introduction from my side. Zach will also be there managing the chat, and in case you have any questions there, he will also reply. He'll also send you the registration links. And I think with that, I would hand it over to James from Dora that have been very close partners for us since 2023, Istanbul, when we had the first version of Hackmos. And then we also have Nicolas Poggi, the CMO at Cosmos Labs, who will be then introducing the Cosmos track, which is today's main topic. So he will be breaking down the prize pool, the kind of participation criteria, everything that helps you all to be best prepared to participate, to maybe also get some prize money, of course. And yeah, so Nico will do the rundown on that. But yeah, now over to James, and thanks to everyone for being here. Thanks.
Thank you, Sito. Great to be back. Yeah, so you should be able to see my screen now. I'm just showing off that we've supported 3 Hackmos hackathons in a row since 2023, and there's been some steady growth since the first one into the second one, and we're hoping that this one's going to be even bigger, as Michael said, that we're incorporating a virtual element to it. So yeah, I'm James from Dora Hacks. For most of you should be aware of Dora Hacks, but if not, we are one of the largest Web3 dev communities and hackathon platforms. And as I've just shown, we've been supporting Hackmos for a few years now. We're big fans and deeply involved in the Cosmos ecosystem. We've got our own Cosmos app chain, Dora Voter, which is a governance-focused chain for decentralized voting, Macy voting, and quadratic funding. So we partner with a number of Cosmos chains in the past, but Hackmos is a big flagship event every year that we have on the platform, and this is where everyone will be submitting their projects, either for the virtual element or if they're hacking in person. It's all going through the same platform and all through the same page. We haven't got separate pages or anything. So this page has been live for a while now, and you can see that submissions will start in 7 days. I'll do a quick run through for those of you who aren't familiar with Dora Hacks, how it kind of feels to use the platform. It's very straightforward. So you can log in with a Google account or with your GitHub account, and then you can come over now and register on the page, and that means you'll be listed as a hacker. You'll also be receiving any announcements that go out through the Dora Hacks page. When you submit, if you haven't used Dora Hacks before, you need to create a biddle. So you'll be prompted when you submit, when you click submit biddle here, it'll prompt you to create one or submit an existing one if you've already had one on Dora Hacks. If you're creating an existing one, you'll have every field that you could need: GitHub repo, any demo videos, You can embed videos and images into your page as well as a team description and general overview of your project. So make sure to include everything into your bidder when you submit it, but you can also edit it after submitting. So if you submit early on, even if you're planning on attending in person, if you've started hacking during the virtual period, then go ahead and submit your bidder as long as it's got enough to be recognized as a legit submission. It's not completely blank. Just get it submitted nice and early so that it's there on the page, and then you can head over in the top right to your profile. You'll be able to see your biddles there, and you can update them right up until the deadline. So get it submitted relatively early, bare bones. You can keep obviously updating the repo because there's just a link to that from your biddle on Dora Hacks, but all of the content as well, you can keep updating it freely right up until the deadline. So get submitted nice and early. When you submit, you'll be prompted to choose one of the tracks. I know we've called it the Cosmos track, but we've actually split them into 3 different themes on here, which Nico will talk about later. And then there are the tracks from Optimum as well. You'll choose one of those when you apply. You can also create and submit another bidder as well if you're working on 2 different projects. And we'll consider whether or not to enable multiple track choice for one bidder. We did this last year and it got a bit confusing. I think they're quite distinct this time, so we should probably keep it as only 1 track per bidder. But you can, if you have different projects, submit 2 bidders to 2 different tracks or 3. The button here will say manage submission if you've already submitted, and you can then either change the track that you've applied to, or you have an option to submit another project. So it's open to you if that's what you want to do. All the details are here on the page, and it will link to the Telegram channel. If you haven't already joined this, everyone from last year should already be there. But if you haven't joined it, make sure to join the Telegram channel where there are some subtopics for support for the Cosmos tracks and also the Optimum tracks. And if you have any questions for us at Dora Hacks, you can message at Dora Hacks Official on Telegram, or you'll find the Discord link to our Discord support channel somewhere on the website. I'll leave it there for now. I think it's pretty straightforward and all the information is here, but I would encourage everyone to register if you haven't already. Start checking out the tracks, and then we're going to hear more from Nico in a minute. So yeah, thanks to everyone at the Cosmoverse team. It's great to be back supporting another Hackmos.
Thank you, James. And yeah, James will also be on ground in Split. So if you have also questions around the platforms or how to submit and yeah, those kind of things, then you'll also be able to figure that out on ground with James. And also one thing I forgot to mention earlier was that if you are thinking of, if you really want to participate, but you might not have a team member, the minimum requirement to be also eligible for prize money is that you have to have at least 1 member of your team presenting in person on November 1st in Split in Croatia. And if you are not able to come, you can just text us. We have a Telegram group. We have the Hackmos community. I see also Armando Medina, who is very passionate and engaged. And yeah, there's a lot of people that will help you to find a team so that you can contribute in whichever way, shape, or form you prefer. But of course, ideally, would love to see all of you in Split. And besides the Dora Hacks portal, we also have a platform on the Cosmos website /Hackmos. I think Zach will share the link, where you can also request a complimentary ticket for Cosmoverse if you are a registered hacker for Hackmos, which means you will have full access to the conference. You'll have food, drinks, full catering from day 1 to day 3 of the conference, and you don't really have to worry about anything there. So yeah, with that,
just quickly, Michael, before we move on, just about joining a team, you reminded me we do have a join a team feature on Dora Hacks. It only works if you've already submitted a project. So I think this could be relevant for people that are not planning on attending in person, but they have some ideas for a project and they might be looking for teammates. When you submit and create your project, you'll have an option that will say looking for teammates. You can tick that and you can specify what roles you're looking for. So I suppose you could say we're looking for someone who's on the ground in Split, who's also going to genuinely join the team, but you can make that as one of your requirements. And then people who are there who are looking for teammates teams to join can check out the Join a Team tab, and it will have a list of all the projects that have said they're looking for teammates, and then they can message each other and get in touch. So that could be a useful tool if you're not planning on attending in person, but you're looking for teammates. Make sure to check looking for teammates when you make your biddle. Okay, over and out.
Thank you, James. And yeah, now over to the man of the hour, Nico. The stage is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, James. Welcome, everybody. As everybody said, there's some familiar faces, there's some new faces. Armando on the ground and on Split as last year as well. And everybody else, hopefully, as well. Will be there with the Cosmos Labs team from day one, maybe even a little bit earlier. So I'd say do not be afraid to just pull up, ask us questions. We'll have members of the success team, developer team, and as well as me, very man on the ground, not only presenting but just meeting a lot of the new builders in the space. So now, without further ado, let's talk a little bit about the Cosmos track, or the Build with Cosmos track. And this is a moment where all tech always can fail. So let me know if the slides are visible. Thumbs up, thumbs up. Okay, wonderful. So Build with Cosmos track. This year, we are just encouraging everybody to try the stack, try some of the new components that we are bringing in, and then focus on some of the areas that we're seeing growing a lot, or that actually need to grow a lot in Cosmos, which are payments, privacy, infrastructure and performance, and Cosmos AI, or generative AI. Who am I? Where I come from? I'm Nico. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer of Cosmos Labs. You probably have seen me working between the foundation and the transition to Cosmos Labs as well. And have been part of Web3 for around 8 years before Cosmos. Always followed and loved Cosmos. I'm part of the Cosmos Lab team, which is the main subsidiary of the foundation in charge of development of the stack, ecosystem, hub, and growth of everything. So it's been a wonderful time building with everybody last year at Cosmos in Dubai, and in a couple of the pop-up events we did up until today in Turkey and Istanbul, most recently with Zach. And we'll be with the rest of the team joining. Today Cosmos is massive. For those that are a little bit newer, our team is pretty big overall. We have 40 plus experts across multiple areas: developer, engineer, of course, operations, finance, and everything that helps us manage the foundation. To this date, we have more than 250 chains in the ecosystem. You'll see some of the bigger names below, and there's dozens and dozens more that keep joining. Like this year, we could call out Stables, one of the stablecoin blockchains that is one of the newer faces in the ecosystem. So let's get to the bottom of this track. We're going to be covering 4 themes in this track. We're trying to help or push people to explore new use cases that have real impact in the world. That's why we focused on payments specifically, or improving payment infrastructure for the world, Cosmos AI, or AI in general, meaning how can we improve building in Cosmos with AI, or just making an impact in the world with AI. Privacy, meaning sometimes public transactions or configurable privacy, something that we've had a good pedigree in the ecosystem as well with projects like Namada. And infrastructure and performance. This is the nitty-gritty of the stack. How can we improve it for everybody else? What new setups can we explore? One of the fun facts that people tend to forget is that most of the enhancements that come from the stack usually either came from 1 or 2 Cosmovers ago, or from contributions from multiple teams in the ecosystem working together, like Kronos recently and Block STM contribution they did for Comment. We're going to be running this track with a $20,000 prize pool. We're going to pick 4 winners, 1 per theme. We want to encourage people to take a risk, not just pick a track because you think it's easier. Try to dive into a single track without dipping twice. And we want to see projects across all categories. We discourage you, from submitting project on multiple tracks. We want you to really narrow down and try to solve a problem in any of these. So if we start with payments, payments is a problem space that's very close to crypto, of course. How do we solve remittance of money? How do we solve paying dinners or splitting the bill with your friends when you go out in an easier and faster way? How we reduce fees of cross-border payments at larger scale? We want to push builders in this direction to take some risk and make some experiments on how we can make payments experiences that are faster with crypto and still delightful, meaning, maybe the crypto part is not as much as upfront. We talked many examples with the team. Some of them that we were given is like payment via username, so abstraction of accounts just using names or domains, a splitting the bill type of application, a compliance chain if we get a little bit more institutional and we think, how do we make a chain that can interact with KYC systems in the real world and have still fast finality when confirming a payment? Cross-border payments, how could we create a solution where you lock some money in one country, transfer it digitally or a tokenized version to another nation, and unlock some money on the other side? Or creator subscriptions, how could we improve a market with such big middleman fees like Patreon? A suggestion that we have here on tooling that you can use to build any of these use cases is the SkipGo API, one of our cross-chain products and toolkits. Specifically, you can do swaps across any chain in and out of Cosmos and convert tokens in a jiffy. If we move on to privacy, we don't really just want people to explore fully private chains, which exist today, and we have also wonderful developers here. We really are insisting on people trying to crack the nut of configurable privacy, meaning sometimes you might send a confidential transactions. Sometimes you want it to be public. What if you want to transfer that, Michael can see, but Zach can't, meaning permissioning of access on a transaction data. All those greedy or like granular use cases of privacy, that's where, the real problem exists. We've been very good at binary privacy, right? Either we have a fully public blockchain and you can see absolutely everything, or it's a fully black box or communication between two peers. We want people to explore what private rails could look like, optional privacy, selective credentials, as I mentioned. What does it mean to permission certain people in certain conditions? Something like anon governance, if you were to vote on proposals on a chain or product or platform or a roadmap. Social trading, what if you could copy trade traders without having to reveal their identity or wallets? And here we recommend one of our partners that we've been working very closely with, of course, in IBC Eureka, SP1 and Succinct. Their proof systems are very useful, quite performant today. If you want to spin up something quickly, there's also other players already in the ecosystem that you might be able to plug and play. But this is more like the sandbox type tooling that we could recommend. If we go on to infra and performance, we want, it's very simple. Our team usually, when we talk about performance on Comet or optimization, the goal is very simple. It's just fast. What can we do to improve the performance of the stack, improve the performance on Comet, and run experiments where you might have different chain configurations that might be less orthodox in some scenario, but might fit some use cases, right? Like there's a lot of type of chains or setups where maybe you don't need consensus with as many nodes, or you can give away some guarantees on one side, like security, because what you're doing is less important, or stability is less important. So we want people to explore this. This is usually the more theme in a track that Cosmos OGs love. We've seen in former Cosmoverse and Hackmos, a lot of builders from other Cosmos chains and teams really dig deep into the stack for the hackathon. So if you want to explore things things, we have examples like the Comet BFT optimizer. Could you have a little tool wizard that helps tune Comet BFT for any chain that might want to run it? Somebody could try just running the fastest chain possible, try to beat Say at their game, try to beat Kronos at their game, make the wackiest configuration in the Cosmos SDK to do it. Maybe do a profiler tool. If you've known profiler tools, it's something that analyzes your system and then recommends actions. You could do a profiler where you analyze someone's setup on the SDK and Comet and say like, hey, actually, you could change these parameters and probably get, 500 more TPS. State sync boost, Cosmos EVM++, which we just call making Cosmos EVM faster. Here, going to be very straightforward. You're going to have to get your hands into Comet and the SDK itself, parameter changes there, and probably running single, dual, 3-node type chains or at small scale or even local to see what type of TPS throughput you can get. Our intelligence, AI built for Cosmos, not just for crypto. We want people to explore what they can do with AI agents that help expand Cosmos or that leverage Cosmos unique architecture. So yes, we have a very interesting stack that allows you to do a lot of things with interoperability, like IBC, in a very fast and performant way. So what if you connected agents with portfolio management and you just prompt your agent, hey, get me 10% yield on ETH somehow, and you let it run across multiple strategies on different protocols. Please do that with testnet assets for the love of God. If you start hacking on this front, you might have an AI smart contract auditor. These type of platforms are becoming super, super popular on Solidity. We need counterparts in Cosmos, not only for contracts, but chain logic itself. So on Go, Rust, custom contracts, pre-compiler. You can do chain health monitoring where you just input chain data to an AI and that AI is able to flag an unusual behavior or raise alerts when there is something that's definitely wrong. Or we might have AI block explorers where you simply paste a transaction, ask it in plain text or English what you want to know about it. And it might be able to fetch all the data from, for example, Mintscan's APIs and tell you a little bit of the story behind this address. Saying like, hey, this address has made 10x on its trades for the last year and is a 50% Atom holder and 50% Osmo holder. Here, we do recommend you try some of the Cosmos native AI platforms. You have Akash, most recently Fetch. Fetch AI recently released Fetch Coder, which is a pretty nifty tool you can use to build agents on Fetch. So it's an AI coder assistant. It's able to interpret, what you want from this agent and build it for you and deploy it on Fetch. An important note on this and why we're suggesting it is it's because it's trained on Cosmos documentation and the Cosmos stack. So actually, it's pretty knowledgeable. For everybody's surprise as well, other AI platforms is also pretty knowledgeable and have the latest docs on Cosmos EVM and the rest indexed. So I suggest people just look at it and have some fun here. But Fetch, of course, can help everybody deploy agents super fast. What can you build when you try to attack this track? Of course, the Cosmos stack. Go to github.com/Cosmos. You have a beautiful table with all the components and the core pieces of the stack, the SDK, Comet, and you also have all the supported tooling around it, like Cosm.js for building front-end applications, like Skip-Go for swaps and transfers across chains, IBC Eureka, which is a unified IBC route, or a facilitated servers for IBC transfers to the hub. This will be your main toolkit. We expect folks mostly to focus on the SDK and Cosmos EVM, which are the frameworks for building either app chains or EVM-based app chains on Cosmos. But you have a lot to choose from, whether you want something to deploy chain quick, like Ignite, or you want to just run with the SDK from the get-go. Again, there's more than just the core stack. You have libraries for testing, libraries for UI, like Interchain UI. You have Telescope that also helps connect your frontends to the chains as well. And then you have smart contract frameworks on the right, including now the EVM front. Still, visit our docs. If you start at evm.cosmos.network, you'll be able to navigate through the SDK docs, IBC, and the EVM stack as well. Join us on our Discord because we are going to be available as of next week, right, Michael? The 25th, you said? Amazing. Towards go ahead. Towards the IRL part of the hackathon in Croatia split. And there's also a lot of tooling in Discord itself that's built specifically for developer support from an AI chatbot that is trained on the stack itself to our support and engineering team that's ready to answer some queues. We're very excited. We're gonna be like how many are we gonna be? I think 10 people from Cosmos Labs on the ground between developers, the leads, and some members of the team in general from ops, marketing. We're going to be there, of course, on the ground on the booth, speaking, doing some workshops, and the judges are going to follow these criteria when we get to the day of presentations to evaluate all projects. So during the week, we're happy to help. We'll try to stay, as separated from the projects as possible to avoid bias when it comes to the judges, but there's a lot of members in the team that will be there to assist technically. As for the judges, we'll be evaluating on originality, impact, feasibility, and presentation. Originality is very straightforward. How novel is this idea? How creative were the builders in mashing two things together to solve a new problem? Impact is how important is that problem that we're solving? And if you're actually solving it as a problem, or if you're getting closer to solving a problem. Feasibility is, can this actually, be executed and be done at scale? Can you move this from a POC or an MVP, or is it just, working because you're running it locally in your computer and it's a very controlled environment? Presentation, of course, it always is super important. How clear, well explained is the pitch? How much effort you put as well onto it? It's not the meat of the bone, but we do like to see a fun and engaging slide and people at least taking an hour or two to put it together. Super important to note, we're not going to be accepting, as per usual, all projects or resubmissions from all the hackathons. We look very closely at our projects submitted. Please bring your best in building original projects and work. We're going to be super strict with that. But yeah, otherwise we're very, very excited. It's been too long since Istanbul already, where we had a wonderful time with the researchers and cryptographers that we were working with, and the Cosmos team that was hosting us there. So judges from the team are ready to go. What to expect besides this? We're not just going to do the hackathon itself and leave you guys to it. We're going to do a couple workshops, both us and some guests we're bringing from the ecosystem. So expect a workshop and talk from Vlad, the lead, Vlad from the lead from Cosmos EVM, on how to use Cosmos EVM to expand EVM and its functionalities, meaning how can you use the SDK itself and the ability to configure the chain to the bone to extend beyond the limitations of EVM. We're going to have an introductory workshop on the Cosmos stack as a whole for the newer builders. This is going to be done by Devin from our success team. We're very excited about that as well. And we're going to have more talks from other builders that have contributed to the stack, like Kronos, the Harvest, Theorsist, the others that have contributed and built different elements of the stack, like contributions to the EVM stack from the Harvest, contributions to Comet from Kronos, and they're gonna dive in deeply onto them. We're super happy that they're joining us. So that is mostly it. I was gonna take your suggestion of taking questions slide, Michael, but when I started sharing, the entire UI of Zoom disappeared, so I cannot see anything but your face, which is great to see all the time. So I'm happy to dive in to any other questions now.
Yeah, thanks for that. I think that was a very comprehensive, good introduction to Cosmos Labs, Cosmos in general, and the track. I also want to add here that everyone that is joining in person, right, like the Hackmos lounge, which is basically going to be your home if you are participating at Hackmos, is basically two segmented. So one part is like a kind of co-working zone where you can work with your teammates. You can also, get access to mentors from Cosmos, and the Cosmos Labs team will be there, like Nico said, and other experts from different fields, right? Because the Cosmos stack is so diverse, it has been maintained over the previous years by various teams, and some of these teams will also be there. So you really get full access to the kind of Cosmos developer community. And the other side of it will also be a little stage where we also will have open mic sessions where we can also do ad hoc kind of short presentations, demos, and those kind of things. And that's also where we're going to do the presentations on November 1st. This is scheduled to be around noon. So 11 a.m. November 1st, we'll end the submissions. Then we'll take 1 hour to prepare, and then you'll present your results in front of the very strict jury. And then as another kind of value add or bonus, the top projects will also then have the chance to pitch their project for a second time on our main stage in the afternoon as part of the closing segment. And our ambition with customers is also then to, stay in touch over the next 3, 6, 12 months. We're also running a ventures platform led by Zach, who's also here. So our goal really with this is also to kind of bootstrap new ideas into actual products that have real demand, real product market fit, that people actually want to use, so that we can turn a Hackmos idea into, a product that generates real value and has real demand in the real world. That's really the goal that we want to pursue here. With James, we're also working potentially on doing subsequent events in the future where we also collaborate. East Denver is usually a great place where we can have a subsequent kind of event where all the Hackmos teams or the top teams get to also present and will be invited, and we'll also have access to investors and our kind of ecosystem of venture partners. That's just like on a bigger picture. I probably should have started with this in the very beginning. But nonetheless, I think Nico, as everybody is potentially preparing questions, hopefully you have some questions. One note from my side, Nico, like if there's anyone that is now for the very first time participating in a crypto hackathon, what would be your kind of recommendations, how to approach this, how to be prepared? Now we have 2 weeks for the in-person segment, and specifically for the Hackmos track, you mentioned the GitHub link, but is there any other kind of recommendations on how to be best prepared?
I think if you're new to crypto and new to Web3 and hacking for the first time, usually the biggest struggle is finding an idea because you're less familiar, let's say, with the different primitives that you might use in Web3 and what they mean, right? Like you're less familiar with DeFi, you know less of why these people are like slapping yield onto things. So my first recommendation is just start exploring the Cosmos ecosystem. Look at a couple of chains and projects and what they're doing. Look at Osmosis, look at Noble, look at Cash, look at Fetch, and ask yourself, where does the Web3 or blockchain component come in? What's the equivalent in Web2? If you think about this, it's like, oh, this is like stocks, but just trading. But it's faster or it's cheaper, and it uses, of course, tokens. Look at Ondo, for example, that's doing something that's more Web2ish on finance. And simply explore. Take a look at other ecosystems. Look at what applications can be. Usually, people might think like, oh, it's this monster, massive thing. Sometimes applications are, as simple and elegant as an AI chat that allows you to do trades, as we've seen with Warden. And sometimes, yes, it's super complex, like a perp platform like DYDX. So start there, take your time. Sometimes, though, like to be honest, one of the best projects I've seen in the last Cosmos hackathons were the people that came in completely blind and had zero experience on crypto at all. And it was because they had zero biases and they didn't do the same projects we see, let's say, every day. So we've seen some crazy projects like um, it was like a farming supply chain tracking, and I was like, wow, this is pretty novel, maybe harder to execute at scale, but still super so coming from a completely different angle. I think that's my main recommendation is just look around, try to test some applications and projects and start learning the patterns of what apps look like here, because probably you are less familiar with things like wallets, trades, tokens, and accounts.
Yeah, I think that's very helpful. And like again, a big reminder, like also when I started in crypto, like for me, what really helped me to understand what this is all about and how to potentially also make a career in this industry is to go physically to an event and to meet people and just get started, have conversations, ask questions, and it can be like any type of question, right? But I think just meeting people, networking, and then just just showing up, I think that is the first most important step. Like Nico said, last year we actually had a very ambitious group of students from the Sharjah University here in the UAE, and they just came in and they were just building stuff and they learned it as they were at the event, and I think it was a very great outcome. And this year as well, that's also why, Roger, I'm glad that you could join today. Like we're also trying to activate universities from the region. We're trying to also bring in even non-technical departments, right? Finance, even law, right? Like we have some different faculties that we're also in talks with. University of Split, University of Zagreb, where we have meetings also next week. So yeah, I think we really want to make this as inclusive as possible. And yeah, just hope, like Julian was saying, did you feel a little bit less lost after this chat?
And if you're not super technical as well, coming in from a different profession, this year I'd say is best year to do that. Usually my recommendation is like, don't be scared, join the team. You can help them with the like business angle, the design, the front end. This is the year where I actually tell you, well, you might actually buy the code your way into a prize. We did hackathons internally in the team as well in the last couple of weeks when we did a team meet. Teams were super mixed across all departments, marketing, operations, engineering, and we had full end-to-end applications that were coded with either GPT, Cloud, from people that it was either their first time or barely engaged with development at all, and they managed to make like pretty advanced prototypes that actually used stuff on chain. So it was super exciting. I think actually it's quite an interesting time to be hacking.
Agree, yeah. Yeah, we're opening it up for questions. Just unmute yourself if you have a question. I see Armando is here. He's actually a Hackmos veteran. He's been there many times. Tashina has also been at Cosmos, and she's also a big Cosmos believer, I know, and also some new faces, right? So feel free to just unmute yourself, and yeah, if you have any questions. Don't be shy. Or any feedback, any logistics around the venue, around traveling to Split.
What about the academic track?
Yeah, I mean, this is a good question. This is part of the academic track, so we're trying to really bring in university groups and students And we're also trying to bring them specifically to Hackmos, like we did last year, and also to the workshops, which are also going to be technical. They're not part of Hackmos, but yeah, we'll share more updates on that soon.
Will people be able to just sleep on the beanbags during the hackathon, Michael?
We're
Are they going to
working
be
on
able
it.
to grind 24/7?
We should be able to provide that, yeah. I mean, we're actually
All
flying
right.
to Croatia tomorrow, Zach, me, and the crew. So yeah, it's always those type of things we always finalize once we're on ground.
Awesome.
Yeah. Tashina, if you have a question, or is it just a hi? Yeah, we'll definitely try to get some beanbags. Yeah, I think that was always a big hit for hackathons in the past. And also, I think we're trying to build in like a little gaming corner, you know, PlayStation, Switch, those type of things. There will be food, there will be drinks, so you don't have to worry about that, of course. But yeah, we're also trying to make it fun for everyone to not only work but also get some good time there. But yeah, I don't think we have any other questions, at least not for now. Next step from our side is, well, you'll probably receive a couple more emails around the academic sessions, around workshops, anything that is relevant to you guys. And of course, also around Hackmos. We will have the next session around Hackmos today in 1 week. There we will be joined by Muriel Medard. She is the founder and CEO of Optimum, which is an EVM project. And they also have a very, very technical. So next session is probably going to be a little bit more technical, which is why it's probably even more important to be there if you want to participate in that track. And she's also a professor at MIT. She will be at Hackmos and Cosmos as well. And I think she's also very insightful in what she's building and what they're doing. So yeah, see you next week, same time. I will also make this recording accessible to everyone as soon as possible. And yeah, thanks again, also Nico, James, Zach.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
See you, everybody.
See you.